What up, world? What up? What up? It's your boy Be Easy 215. No Easy Outlet, the podcast. We back. Yeah, man, we back and we about to talk about these Philadelphia Eagles some more. I don't know if y'all was listening to the Nick Sirianni press conference on WIP, but one thing, it's like I came away from the interview more confused than the team looked on the field, and most notably that play when Julio Jones and Stahl is running in and coming out, and they don't know who's supposed. I left the interview more confused than that. Like, Nick Sirianni is just a bad liar. Probably a nice guy. Yeah, I mean, probably tries to be the best he can be, but he's a bad liar. And when you in a position where you leading men or trying to be a leader, one thing that rubs off is fakeness. Fakeness will rub real ones the wrong way. And it just feels like Nick Sirianni is so fake. Even his answers in the press conference. I mean, granted, he a coach. I know it's only so much he can say, but it just screams like this is a radio interview, and I could just listen to him talk and hear the sweating and the fidgeting behind if he was live that we would see. It's just crazy to me. And that this is the guy who's the leader of the team. So yeah, it is a trickle down effect. The one thing he said repeatedly is when things are going wrong in this department, that department, it all starts with me. So you have to point the finger at me first. So that is why we are pointing the finger at you. That is why we are pointing the finger at you. One of the questions he was asked that really rubbed me the wrong way was, are you disappointed in the team, the play, the where you are right now? And his answer is kind of telling of how this whole season, this whole situation, the lack of creativity, imagination, everything was, you could see it all in this answer. So yes, it do start with him. So when people is asking, how do you fire a coach who has the highest winning percentage and all this other stuff, that easy, because when that's no longer effective, you got to move on. The man said, after being asked that question, he said, I don't live in those moments. I don't live in the past or the present. I live in the here and now, where this team is right now, where this team is right here. And where I understand coaches give cliche answers, there was a lot in that was very telling of everything with this situation. The plainness, the vanilla-ness. Listen to the answer that he said. I don't live in the past. I don't live in the present. I live in the here and the now and where we are right now with this team. I can imagine that going over to practice, play calling, and everything. You're unimaginative. You don't think about your past mistakes or victories to help carry them over into the present. And you don't use what happened to you in the past, the mistakes and the good things, to carry you into the present and prepare for the future. You're only stuck in the here and the now, which is why you lack adjustments, creativity, or anything, because you are not prepared for what has happened to you or what is coming. You are only standing here in the here and now, which means your team is constantly underprepared because you're not prepared for the next move. You're just prepared for that play. That's probably setting you up for something later. That all carries over in that one mantra, and that's what I got from that. They asked him about the A.J. Brown frustrations, from a captain on the sideline not wanting to talk, voicing his frustration. Has Nick Sirianni talked to him, and have they talked in the past 48 hours? The man said, of course, he's not going to tell us everything. That's to be expected. Well, I'm going to keep every conversation that I have with my players between me and my players, and I'm always going to keep those conversations private. Okay, I don't even know why you had to say that. We know that. We know you ain't gonna come out and say like, "Oh yeah, I said this to AJ and AJ responded with this." We know that. You ain't gotta say that. Just anyway. Yeah, this time of the year, he's a productive player. He's done a lot for us. We're all frustrated. Everybody's frustrated at this point. But yes, I've talked to him in the past 48 hours. We're all in a rut. We're frustrated. We all want to figure out how to get out of this rut. Everybody's frustrated. So he said a lot with saying nothing while trying to lie and keep a straight face. Like, I don't understand. The key to everything he said was frustration, which means he talked to AJ in the past 40 hours and frustration was voiced. That's what everything that came out of that was frustration, which is why I think in the presser after the game or whatever, preaching forgiveness, they were harping on how he just kept preaching off staying together through this, because it seems to be ripping at the seams. Has it fallen apart? No, because you got some guys in that locker room that's vets, been here, been there, done that before. And you got some guys with some tight-knit relationships that came from some places and spent some time together. So that's what's keeping it together at the seams. Because if it wasn't for that, this would be busting out all over the place. But I just think he's a bad liar. And when you can't keep it real to an extent, we know you can't say what you everything, but keep it, especially Philly. Philly is that, like, you got to keep it real. And the players that trickle over to the players. I think Nick is coming off now as fake, corny. I heard people use the word fake tough guy. I don't know nothing about that, but it's coming across as fake, corny, and it's unreal. And a lot of guys can't rock with that. And some of the answers, like I said, from that he gives, I left this, like, I could listen to Philly 500, LB, Philly Take with RB, Philly Mike, Philly Fresh. I could listen to any one of the Eagles content creators that really bring it and get more of a breakdown and an insight than what I got from the press conference. And I'm not expecting much because I know they can't say much, but at this point, just listening to the talk, it sounds like you don't have the answers. So how can the guys on the ship look to you for answers when you sound like you don't have the answer? Granted, I know that you can't tell us everything. When I hear 1,000 coaches go out there and give coach talk and PR talk, it at least it sounds plausible. This does not sound plausible at all. And I don't know what you're supposed to say up there. But what you're saying and the way you're saying it and the way you're stumbling, fumbling through it, it's almost like they need that bouncing ball in the NBA with the words across the bottom so we can follow you. Like, and it's not to be insulting on your intelligence and nothing. It's just how it's coming across. And if it's coming across to the fan base like that, I know the media could be harsh and they need clickbaits and everything. At this point, from the flowers to the roots that the players tried to stand up for you and defend and make a joke out of and get behind, it's all just starting to come to fruition. And listen, winning percentage or not, you got to a Super Bowl and lost. Andy got to a Super Bowl and lost. Got rid of him. Doug won one, got rid of him. I believe the message and the leader is good as long as it motivates the troops. Regardless of it's a job, the Marines, the Army, whatever, football coach, whatever. The message is only as good if it motivates the troops and it leads them in the right direction. Once the message is gone, especially from a guy who says he doesn't live in the past and he don't do the future, he lives in the moment. Okay, well, this moment you are sucking in this stink. Your past can't help you now because you don't even acknowledge that. So let's stay with you and stay in the moment. It's time for a change, and it might start with the head coach. It might start with the head coach. It's your boy, BeEasy215, No Easy Outlet, the podcast. You know what I mean? Bird Gang, let's go. And then the inactives, before we do go though, the inactives and the actives versus the Giants in the last game, the mystery, the gamesmanship. Like at this point, gamesmanship for what? The Giants ain't going to be a team you might see in the playoffs. Losing that game to the Cardinals, this should be no mystery. I don't care what happened. They are playing. Reason being, you might want to rest Jalen, maybe AJ because Smitty injured, but the rest of them need to play. Everybody on defense needs to play. Starter or bench player needs to play. You didn't earn the right to sit down. Nobody did. The whole Eagles team fumbled the bag on sitting down. You didn't earn the right to sit down. You look like rested or not, you're going home from the playoffs. Rested or not. So you need to play this game. And you need to play like your hair on fire to pull the fan base back in and maybe yourselves too. It's your boy, No Easy Outlet, the podcast. Be Easy 215. We out, Bird Gang.